On January 3rd, 2025, this skinny old man told me he had a BMW motorcycle at home. At first, I was half skeptical, but it really was a BMW. And it even had lots of fancy car-style buttons. When I lifted the old cloth, I found it was really huge. The old man said his brother traded for it. It had been sitting at his place for many years. Later, he pushed it into a shed and left it there for another 2 or 3 years. Altogether, it hadn't been ridden for almost 10 years. Now he's gone south to retire. The old man asked for $10,000, but I got it for $6,500 plus 2 leaking cylinders and brought it back. This bike is super heavy, almost 800 Jin, approximately 400 kilograms, but the key got lost during a move. Now I can only try some brute force method to open it. Wish me luck. Damn, if you ever lose your key, call me. I'll come rescue you. My half-baked lockpicking skill only works one side. The other's probably half broken. I thought maybe there'd be something nice in the back box, because whoever bought this bike back then must have been quite loaded. But all that's inside is some pedal thing, I'm not sure what for. I have a feeling it doesn't even belong to this bike. There's even a hidden seat heater button here. And this part is a hydraulic support rod. Looks like this bike's pretty high-end. The original battery's definitely dead. Plugged in jumper cables, turned the key. The dash lit up, horn works. Then I thought once I add fuel, it'll ride. I thought I'd scored big with just 6,500 yuan. I grinned from ear to ear, showing all my teeth. But it wouldn't start, just clicked once. First I suspected my wiring was loose. Then I thought maybe the start button's broken. But it seemed more like the starter motor wasn't turning. This job's going south. If the starter can't turn, it's either air pressure, a starter issue, or the engine's seized. I thought buying such a big bike for this price was a steal, but it turns out it's got a 4-cylinder engine mounted sideways. These engines have one fatal flaw: uneven wear leading to oil burning. If I'd known that before, I wouldn't have paid $6,500. Now I kinda regret it. This job's dragging on. Whatever, let's just keep going. First, I'll remove the outer shell to confirm where the problem actually is. Hopefully, it's just an issue with the starter motor itself, but after all, it's made in Germany. Even after sitting idle for so many years, its craftsmanship is still excellent. Even the features have that classic German style. There were even 2 little local residents inside. Clearly, it's been sitting untouched for ages. Truly worthy of being called an intercontinental touring motorcycle. The gas tank is enormous. I only wanted to check the starter motor, but I ended up taking apart half the bike. I think I found the problem. There's a red wire connected behind the starter motor. Most likely this red wire is the cause. Its tip had oxidized and turned green. The oxidation caused poor contact and the current wasn't strong enough to start the engine. I crimped a new copper terminal and put it back in. That spot was really awkward to reach. Then I tested it directly with a copper point gun. Yep, that was the problem. It was all caused by this tiny oxidized connector. I'd practically taken apart the whole bike for this. It happened to get dark, so I clocked out and went home to clean up. This is the Bronze Series 9 shaver I've been waiting for, the top German model. I've been waiting for it. The year's almost over. Time to reward myself with a high-quality shaver. Yesterday, because one copper wire on the starter oxidized, I took apart half the bike. Today, I'll check the ignition circuit all at once so I don't have to redo things later. This time I've learned my lesson. Sorry, let me lock this in twice. From the feel of it, the pistons are being removed for the first time and they're dual-ended. To save time, I put them directly on the tester to check their condition. The 4 pistons aren't in great shape, but they're still usable. Then I reinstalled them on the bike. Yes, there was a high voltage spark. I also tested each cylinder's compression. Each had over 10 bars. This is the strongest one among all the bikes I've repaired. It definitely proves its horsepower must be impressive. Now I can be sure there's no issue with the electrical circuit. Next, I'll deal with its beggar fuel tank. Fortunately, the tank is plastic and not rusty inside, but the fuel pump here isn't behaving well. I connected it directly to power. No response, as expected. I used my old trick again, shook it from side to side. Remember this secret, but don't tell anyone. If the fuel pump doesn't work because of no fuel, try tapping or shaking it, it usually helps. I also found something very unusual about this bike. The air filter is actually placed under the fuel tank. That means even a simple maintenance job requires tearing it apart, like I did. Judging by that, this air filter was probably installed on December 19, 2005. Now fuel is in, power is connected, time to try starting it. Wish me luck. Now the bike still won't take in fuel. I suspect the problem is still in the fuel line. I already knocked on the fuel pump this morning, so the issue must be with the injectors. But after taking them off, they don't seem to be the problem. I tested them directly with power. They're fine. Fuel was flowing smoothly. I think the issue isn't in the fuel line, at least the injectors are fine. Man, for 6,500 yuan, I really bought myself a lot of work. Nothing went smoothly. Every step was a struggle. Now it can start, but only for a second. No fuel comes in. After a while, it starts again. The problem isn't in the fuel line, so I checked the ignition system again. I can confirm the ignition circuit has no issues. After a few days, I noticed that after it stalls, this hose here swells up and gets hard. So I pulled this hose off. One end had fuel, but the other side wasn't venting any air. That doesn't fit Newton's laws at all. I started injecting cleaning fluid inside. I found a lot of gunk. Looks like it was clogged. I wiped the cover and got splashed. I think this is the culprit. Then I cleaned the fuel hose, put it back, and reinstalled the tank. I'm not totally sure if that was it. I'm just crossing my fingers now. I told you, at the end of science, there's always some of our ancient wisdom. Just this tiny blocked return hose had me stuck for 4 or 5 days. Luckily, I blasted it open just in time and exposed its true form. Now let's quickly reassemble everything and test other functions. If it doesn't work, I'll blast it again. The tires are inflated, the bike's reassembled. Time to test ride it. Wish me luck.